Good evening and welcome to Prime Edition. Tonight our focus is on the corridors of justice, and what a day it has been. From the Albert Ojwang murder trial to the boycott of advocates in courts, as well as the arrest of a magistrate accused of corruption. This is what has shaped the day in our corridors of justice. We have details lined up for you, but things first, the highlights. Gilbert Ojwang's murder trial. High Court in Kibera adjourns hearing of the murder case to December 14th.
Asking every lawyer not to appear in any court that is subject to the targeted court boycott, and that includes the Supreme Court.
The bar versus the bench. Lawyers make good their threat to boycott court proceedings. Judiciary downplays the boycott, saying court operations remained uninterrupted. And war on corruption. Kangema Senior Principal Magistrate Martin Kenyo Mutegi relieved of his duties following his arrest by the EACC over bribery allegations. Caroline Njoroge is our sign language interpreter. My name is John Jacob Kioria. You're very much welcome to this broadcast. To start us off, the hearing of the murder case pitting teacher and blogger Albert Omondi Ojwang has been adjourned to December 2026. Kibera trial judge Diana Kavetsa allocated 4 consecutive days from December 14th to 17th, when cross-examination of the Independent Policing Oversight Authority, IPOA forensic expert Joshua Mutua and other prosecution witnesses will take place. The Wednesday testimony by the expert focused on the CCTV footage that was retrieved from Bagathi Hospital, which captured a police vehicle entering the hospital and 3 uniformed police officers removing Ojwang's body from the vehicle covered in a white sheet and placing it on a stretcher at around 11 a.m. on the 8th of June, that is 2025. The footage further shows the police officers pushing the stretcher to the casualty section. The court was told that moments later, the body was taken to the back of the police vehicle with the 3 officers led by Deputy OCS Samuel Nganga on board. The vehicle consequently drove away. The accused, former Central Police Station OCS Samson Talam, 2 police constables and 3 civilians are charged in connection with the death of Albert Ojwang.
Person to the police vehicle before driving out of the hospital compound at approximately 02:15 hours. On 8th June 2025,
yes,
at around 01:35 hours, 3 uniformed police officers in a police vehicle are observed wheeling the deceased towards the casualty area on a stretcher. They are later seen returning to the vehicle with the deceased still on the stretcher. Placing him into the vehicle and departing at around approximately 02:15 hours. It is worth noting that all this time they were proceeding to casualty area, the vehicle was unmanned. Nobody was left to guard the vehicle.
The exam of PW4 on 14th of December at 9. And then further hearing of this case on 15th, 16th, and 17th at 9 a.m.
Moving on, lawyers in the country made good their threat to boycott court proceedings on Wednesday, accusing the judiciary of frustrating accountability and protecting corrupt judicial officers. Speaking in Nairobi, the Law Society of Kenya, LSK President Charles Kanjama vowed that the boycott will continue until the judiciary takes action against judges facing integrity issues. The judiciary has in the meantime downplayed the move, stating that the court proceedings continued in various parts of the country despite the boycott.
There was drama at Milimani Magistrates Court in Nairobi as a group of lawyers led by Law Society of Kenya President Charles Kanjama stormed the court in a bid to stop court proceedings. Earlier, Kanjama and a group of country's top legal minds gathered at Supreme Court buildings in Nairobi on Wednesday morning to heed calls by the Law Society of Kenya for a nationwide boycott of court proceedings.
We are asking every lawyer not to appear in any court that is subject to the targeted court boycott, and that includes the Supreme Court.
We are tired of a corrupt judiciary that refuses to reform itself. In fact, the judiciary is incapable of reforming itself.
We are not fighting judges as such or magistrates as such. What we are fighting is the endemic corruption that has engulfed the judiciary in this country.
The clients will take disciplinary measures against you as an individual because we have been paid by clients.
The lawyers claimed they are frustrated by what they termed as rampant corruption and lack of transparency in the judiciary.
If courts have become masters unto themselves, that they can stop court order, they can use court orders to stop the investigations, they can stop EACC from digging out the dirt, they can stop the JSC from being able to handle complaints placed before them, then how can we trust in our courts?
But other than that, I've seen in the news today, a magistrate and a probation officer have been arrested for corruption. There is need for further investigation by EACC in terms of the judges, appellate judges, the Supreme Court, just to make sure that we have integrity back into the judiciary.
In Mombasa, Law Society Chairperson Natasha Ali accused sections of the judiciary of perpetuating inefficiency and poor working relations with the advocates.
So we're discussing issues of corruption, we're discussing issues of non-functioning registries, we're discussing issues of CTS systems not working, the filing system not working, dates for a matter that was filed this year has been given for next year, January.
In Kikuyu, Kiambu County, lawyers led by Chairperson James Kihara and a section of residents supported calls for all judges and magistrates facing integrity issues to step aside and allow for investigations. Similar calls were made in Busia.
Kama uko na makosa, sheria ichukue mkono. Kama hauna, urudi kazi. Lakini hakuna venye wewe kama judge ama magistrate uko na kesi, una kesi za watu wengine na wewe mwenye uko na kesi.
The relationship between the judiciary and the advocates and also the litigants imedeteriorate sana. So we are saying ya kwamba judiciary has to wake up.
A confrontation unfolded at the Nakuru Law Courts after members of the Law Society of Kenya Nakuru chapter disrupted court proceedings that continued despite lawyers' national boycott over alleged judicial misconduct.
The judiciary right now, as it stands, there is a clear lack of competence, and there are systematic inefficiencies to how the judiciary is conducting itself.
Meanwhile, the judiciary maintained that court operations remained uninterrupted in Eldoret, Kisii, Busia, Mombasa, Nakuru, Nyeri, Meru, Nairobi, and the Court of Appeal. The judiciary says it's committed to upholding the rule of law. This as the Kenya Judges Welfare Association has called on the Law Society of Kenya to immediately suspend its targeted boycott of court proceedings, warning that the action risks denying thousands of Kenyans access to justice while undermining confidence in the judiciary. Joseph Wahungu for Prime Edition.
And that story takes us to a very fast breather right here on Prime Edition. When we come back, there's a related story about a magistrate in Kangema, Murang'a County. Don't go too far.
Life changes, and so can your insurance. In the event you are unable to pay your life insurance premiums for some reason, and you have paid your premiums for at least 3 years, don't worry. Your premiums haven't gone to waste. Your policy may remain in force under paid-up value, giving you reduced but valuable cover with no extra premium payments. It is recommended that you do not cancel your policy before maturity to receive the full benefits of your policy. Talk to your insurance company in the event you have challenges paying your insurance premium. Read and understand the terms and conditions of your policy. This message is brought to you by the Insurance Regulatory Authority, IRA. IRA. Bima bora kwa taifa.
Many workers access their retirement benefits when switching jobs, unaware of the impact it has on their future. Taking out your retirement savings too soon reduces the income you will have when you retire, leaving your future less secure. Have you thought about the lifestyle or income you want to retire with? The earlier you start saving, the better. And the more you save, the more secure your future will be. Increase your savings today and live your golden years the way you've always dreamed. For more information, visit our website www.rba.go.ke, call our toll-free line 0800-720-300 or email info@rba.go.ke. Secure your future. Secure your peace of mind. RBA, safeguarding your retirement benefits.
Mbona mtu afanye hivyo?
Hii information niliyokupa isitoke hapa. Ni mimi na wewe.
Ni wewe mwanamke anaishi wapi? Twende tukamfunze adabu.
Unamwachia Mungu.
Tunaanza kufanana, manake sisi sio rahisi. Tuamini watu hivi hivi.
Hodi hapa.
Kwangu sikaribishi maadui na wasaliti.
Utakuwa na gari. Natusubiri hapo. So tutakuja na hawa wawili tunaweka ndani.
Na wewe ukishikwa.
Mpundu chichi. Hey.
Ili jambo lisikutatize kabisa.
Hello Chief Matata.
Fanya vile ambavyo tulipanga, sawa? Cassandra.
Kama kuna kitu ninacho leo ni muda.
Ikiwa unataka kujihusisha na siasa, hiyo shauri yako.
Itajihusisha na nitasupport.
Cassandra.
Kituo unachokienzi cha KBC Radio Taifa kitakuletea tamasha kubwa la Rumba Night mjini Kakamega katika klabu ya Havana Lounge. Kikosi kizima cha KBC Radio Taifa kikiongozwa na Mfumo Kimbangu aka Mzairwa kitatua Kakamega kukutana na kusherehekea pamoja na wasikilizaji wake.
Veridwa.
Hafla hii itang'oa nanga Ijumaa tarehe 24 na Zinga Live pale Hector Supermarket Kakamega kuanzia saa 2 hadi saa 4 asubuhi. Kisha tuelekee Emusala Special School eneo bunge la Lurambi na Malava Special Unit eneo bunge la Malava. Baadaye mida ya jioni tutajumuika Havana Lounge kwa tamasha la Rumba Night. Jumamosi tarehe 25 tutakuwa kwenye tamasha la Ramani ya Kiswahili pamoja na mwalimu Mathias Momanyi katika shule ya upili ya wasichana ya Butere. Jiunge nasi tutengeneze kumbukumbu pamoja na Radio Taifa, sauti ya Mkenya.
Nakoza ngapamba ti kama ta.
Kukosa ni makosa.
Welcome back. You're watching Prime Edition. Now, Kangema Senior Principal Magistrate Martin Kenywa Mutegi has been relieved of his duties following his arrest by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission EACC over bribery allegations. Chief Justice Martha Koome, in a statement, said administrative and disciplinary proceedings have commenced against him, promising to assist the anti-graft body with its investigations. At the same time, she reiterated that the judiciary maintains a zero-tolerance policy on corruption and unethical conduct. This comes as the Law Society of Kenya, of course, led a boycott, as we told you earlier, against court proceedings.
In a statement issued Wednesday, Chief Justice Martha Koome said the allegations against the judicial officer are grave and if proved, amount to a serious violation of the law, the Judicial Code of Conduct and Ethics and the constitutional values that guide the administration of justice. The Chief Justice further said while they were entitled to a fair trial, the judiciary will not shield any judge, judicial officer or member of staff accused of criminal or unethical conduct. She said judicial authority is exercised on behalf of the people and must be guided by integrity, accountability, impartiality and transparency. The administrative action follows the arrest of the magistrate alongside Principal Probation Officer Julius Irungu Njogu during an undercover operation mounted by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission in Kangema Township. Investigators allege the probation officer approached a Muranga businessman acting on behalf of the magistrate and demanded 150,000 shillings in exchange for a favorable probation recommendation and a non-custodial sentence. The duo were reportedly arrested while receiving the funds from the complainant.
We are very keen that please, justice cannot be for sale. Justice is priceless. And this is the last frontier. The courts are our last frontier where we seek refuge. So please, 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 kindly dispense justice as it's supposed to be dispensed.
ESCC says investigations have also uncovered additional complaints involving alleged interference with court processes. Ben Chumba, Prime Edition.
Away from the corridors of justice, let's now get into politics. And Deputy President Professor Kioria Kindiki has urged Kenyans to embrace national unity, saying political differences should not be used to divide the nation. Kindiki, who was in Machakos on Wednesday, said the mountain is one and so are the people of Kenya. The DP called on leaders to focus on development and service delivery, ensuring that every region, regardless of voting patterns, receives equal attention and resources.
During the official opening of the Kithimani Land Registry in Yatta constituency, Machakos County, Deputy President Kioria Kindiki told of politicians criticizing President William Ruto's style of governance, saying that the head of states supports national unity and development across the country.
Na rais wa Kenya amepigwa vita kwa sababu ya kusimama kidete na kusema ya kwamba haijalishi vile watu walipiga kura. Haijalishi 2022 watu walipiga kura wapi. It does not matter. Kwa sababu wakati wa uamuzi wa kura, mwananchi ako na haki ya kidemokrasia kupigia kiongozi ambaye anataka.
He said the government will not allow national security to be threatened, adding that the need to eradicate goons who threaten the peace of Kenya is non-negotiable.
Hii ujinga ingine we cannot allow. And I assure you, we will not allow. It is not possible. Na hiyo mambo ya kuvuruga Kenya, sio mambo ya siasa, hiyo ni mambo ya ushetani. Ni kweli si kweli? Si ni ushetani? Mambo ya kuvuruga nchi na taifa na jamii, hiyo ni mambo ya kiushetani. Na rais amesema enough is enough.
The DP urged all political leaders to prioritize the country's stability over political expediency, stating that the misuse of young people for political gains must be rejected. Kindiki made it clear that the government will not tolerate any threats to national stability. He urged Kenyans to reject violence and tribalism, stressing that political competition should focus on agendas that benefit the youth, women, and the nation's infrastructure.
Jamii zote za Kenya ni wa Kenya. Na hii ni nchi yao. Hakuna mtu ataruhusiwa kuleta mambo ya kugawanya wananchi kwa misingi ya kikabila ama dini ama umri. Kenya ni yetu sisi zote na lazima sisi zote tutembee kama ndugu na dada wa taifa moja.
One of the flagship projects of the Kenya Kwanza regime is the affordable housing program, and now the Principal Secretary in charge of housing, Charles Hinga, has cautioned against politicization of the affordable housing program, saying the project remains stable and is intent to expand home ownership, or rather the intention is to expand home ownership and create jobs across the country. The PS dismissed claims that Kenyans had withdrawn 2.56 billion shillings from the Boma Yangu saving account after losing faith in the program. According to the PS, only 803 million shillings had been withdrawn from the voluntary saving wallet, and that the rest had been converted into deposits for home ownership.
Following reports of panic withdrawals from the Boma Yangu savings account, Housing Principal Secretary Charles Hinga has moved in to clear the air, saying statutory withdrawals as at 30th June stood at 803 million shillings and not 2.56 billion as has been claimed. According to Hinga, 1.76 billion was converted by members into deposits for home ownership. Of these amounts, 1.6 billion shillings was applied as buyer's deposit for Park Road units.
63% of that 2.5 billion money that they're calling a refunded, is savings that were applied to people that bought the first housing scheme in Park Road. So those who allocated money in Park Road, they took the money from their savings wallet and put it in the deposit. They were allocated, and then that money is gone. Then there is another 139 million, which is 5.5%, that has gone for units, other units now outside Park Road.
The PS assured the public that their savings and houses will remain safe regardless of the government of the day, noting the long-term national initiative intends to expand home ownership and create jobs across the country, with efforts ongoing to ensure every home owner gets a sectional title.
And we are working very hard to make sure that by the time the house is ready, you will have your own sectional title.
A sectional title is just like a title deed. Once it is in your name, even if a government changes, you continue owning that home.
He cautioned against politicization of the affordable housing project.
It's only bankruptcy of idea, where 1 minute, it's like a slogan, all affordable housing, because it is popular when you're looking for votes. Then you come back and you say, no, sijui if I can get my chicken up there, then affordable housing is not for us.
So far, over 1.2 million Kenyans have registered under Boma Yangu, with over 300,000 housing units under construction.
We are going to complete 45,000 units between now and December, and another 15,000 between January and June next year. For the Mukuru housing estate, the demand is extremely high. We've had 24,000 applicants for about 13,000 units.
Nancy Okware, Prime Edition.
The Kenya County Government Workers Union is threatening to mobilize its members to down their tools. The union has issued a nationwide ultimatum to all county public service boards, demanding they immediately engage the Salaries and Remuneration Commission, SRC, to implement long overdue collective bargaining agreements. Union leaders accuse boards across a majority of the 47 counties of willfully delaying labor agreements by failing to engage the SRC. They warn that continued inaction will leave county employees with no alternative but to go on strike.
Solidarity forever. A clear baseline was established to rectify these historical inequalities under the fourth remuneration cycle. The baseline is clear. The only bottleneck is the refusal of county public service boards to formally seek SRC advisories required to move forward. Hatuna furaha na hao. Tunataka wawajibike. Kwa hivyo kuna zile serikali gatuzi ambazo zimewajibika na tumezungumza na hao. Na kuna already kama Mombasa iko implemented. Nairobi iko kwa tail ends. Mazungumzo yanaendelea ya Taita Taveta, tunaendelea na mazungumzo na Kajiado na vile vile Kisumu. Wale wengine tunataka wawajibike. Waache kuzembea kazini. For the union makes us strong.
can purchase a last expense insurance for you and your loved ones, consider purchasing this insurance policy to avoid unnecessary stress and fundraising when you lose a loved one. The policy covers funeral-related expenses, thus easing the burden of losing a loved one. Now you know. Read and understand the terms and conditions of your policy. This message is brought to you by the Insurance Regulatory Authority, IRA. IRA, Bima Bora kwa Taifa.
Slim Nyarawendo SNA Radio Mayiga Mato Marwa.
Welcome back. You're watching the Prime Edition. The Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers, KUPPET, has accused the Teacher Service Commission, TSC, of failing to protect teachers' welfare, citing widening salary disparities, persistent challenges with the teachers' medical scheme, and delayed payments to national examination examiners. The union is attributing these disparities to the TSC's failure to effectively champion teachers' welfare within government.
The union says the latest public service salary review has left teachers significantly behind their counterparts in the civil service, while unresolved health cover challenges continue to expose teachers to out-of-pocket medical expenses.
Several years ago, under the Grand Coalition government, teachers fought for the harmonization of salaries across the two cadres and attained fairness in public sector remuneration. Regrettably, the disparities are back again.
Speaking in Nairobi at the union headquarters, KUPPET Secretary General Akelo Misori said the recently gazetted 2026-2027 salary review has widened the gap between teachers and civil servants, with some public officers now earning up to 60% more than the teachers in comparable grades.
In higher job groups alone, civil servants earn even double the pay offered by the Teacher Service Commission. This is in addition to the irregular cap of career progression within the Teacher Service Commission at salary grade D5, which is 5 grades below the senior-most public service grade of E4.
We must harmonize these salaries. We come back to demand for harmonization of salaries in this sector, because this is the public sector. Quickly revise our CBA, and indeed the TSC must be put on notice, because the President ordered Teachers Service Commission to revise the teachers' CBA and pay it in 1 or 2 phases.
Beyond salaries, KUPPET says teachers continue to face serious difficulties accessing health care under the Social Health Authority, including delays in approvals for diagnostic tests, repeated system failures, and frequent demand for cash payments for services that should be covered.
absence of dedicated toll-free line for teachers with only one line in service, serving all SHA stakeholders throughout the country. The union has demanded immediate action by SHA on these items, which were agreed after interagency consultations initiated by none other than the Cabinet Secretary for Health, Honorable Adan Duale.
The union has also called on the Kenya National Examination Council to immediately pay teachers who examined the 2025 national examinations, warning that prolonged delays undermine morale and devalue professional service.
The examiners have been paid. We accept and appreciate. But those teaching, those who are center managers, those who are carrying the papers like the police officers and other teachers training colleges examiners have not been paid. We ask the National Examination Council to ensure that all these are expedited in time.
Michael Mondiga for Prime Edition.
Back to the corridors of justice, an Australian investor has told a Kenyan court that he was defrauded of a whopping 77 million shillings in an alleged gold scam involving 600 kilograms of gold. The investor, Andrew Adey Gabala, has testified that he was lured into what he believed was a legitimate gold transaction, only to discover that he had fallen victim to an elaborate fraud. The case is now before the court. Details of the story and more in today's Scale of Justice segment.
The complainant, Andrew Gabala, who testified virtually, said he intended to buy 10 kilograms of gold to test its authenticity before committing to buy the remaining 590 kilograms.
So agreed in this collateral was that 10 kilograms of gold from the 600 kilo consignment would be provided as collateral against the payment for the insurance.
Gabala said that the accuser told him that a plane full of the gold had left Kenya for Oman after he made the payment for the gold, but the plane never reached its destination.
So on the morning of that day, on 7 a.m., I received a message from Duncan claiming that the aircraft had already departed Nairobi and was going to arrive in Muscat, Oman at 1 p.m. And no such plane had left Nairobi airport or arrived at all in Oman.
The matter was adjourned and set for hearing on the 23rd of July 2026 at 11 a.m. Elsewhere, 3 of the 5 people accused for attempting to defraud the Social Health Authority of 2.5 million Kenyan shillings appeared before the Milimani Law Courts, where they pleaded not guilty to all the charges. During the proceedings, the defense asked the court to grant the accused reasonable bail and bond terms.
So, Your Honor, they are not at a flight risk. They will always comply within the jurisdiction of this court. We are praying for reasonable cash bail or bond of the same.
They were released on a bond of 500 Kenyan shillings each as they await pre-trial hearing. And a former member of the County Assembly for Mwolem Ward in Nairobi City County Assembly has been arraigned in court of allegations of attempted fraud involving 3 million Kenyan shillings.
We pray that he is released on a 50,000 cash bail.
He was released on a bond of 500,000 Kenyan shillings awaiting pre-trial. Finally, 2 people accused of stealing have pleaded not guilty to the charges. The court heard that the 2 allegedly stole 4 million Kenyan shillings from Family Bank Limited jointly with others who were not before the court. The prosecution did not oppose their release on bail or bond. They were released on a bond of 500,000 Kenyan shillings pending the pre-trial hearing.
So, pre-trial elections on 5th of August before court number 4. Each of the accused will be released on a bond of 500,000, the surety of certain amount, a cash bail of 300,000.
Bruce Mayoyo for Prime Edition.
Realize all that and the manner of theft runs into millions of shillings in all those stories that were captured in the Scales of Justice segment. Interesting. Now, Kenya's preparedness against Ebola virus disease has received a shot in the arm following the arrival of emergency response supplies from India. The consignment arrived amid heightened vigilance in the wake of a regional outbreak of Ebola in the Democratic Republic of Congo and neighboring Uganda.
Health Cabinet Secretary Aden Duale received a 5-ton consignment comprising personal protective equipment, rapid diagnostic kits, infrared thermometers, and other emergency response materials. Speaking during the handover ceremony, CS Duale said the donation reflects the strong partnership between Kenya and India in healthcare, noting that the supplies will replenish the national public health emergency strategic stockpile and enhance the country's capacity to protect frontline health workers and respond rapidly to any suspected Ebola cases.
These are what we required alongside what the government of Kenya is providing, alongside what the U.S. government is providing through the implementing agency, to make sure that we equip all the 22, main as the one of Laikipia, the other 21 isolation treatment Ebola centers across our country.
The country's laboratory capacity has been strengthened through mobile laboratories and expanded diagnostic facilities.
We have 2 mobile laboratories in the western part of Kenya, along the border with Uganda. KEMRI, CDC labs are on high gear.
Kenya has so far not reported any Ebola cases, but surveillance has been intensified with more than 270,000 travelers screened at over 20 points of entry.
I want to thank the team that is doing a lot in terms of surveillance and laboratory testing. By this morning, 270,000 travelers have been screened digitally in all our over 20 entry points that we have with Uganda, Ethiopia, Somalia, Tanzania.
Maria reporting for the Prime Edition.
And the government has established a multi-sectoral committee to review and align Kenya's laws with the 2010 Constitution. Chaired by the Kenya Law Reform Commission Chairperson Christine Egimba, the committee will identify unconstitutional, obsolete and redundant statutory provisions and recommend reforms.
The review follows findings that 64 court decisions between 2014 and 2024 invalidated sections of various laws, while 42 statutes may no longer serve a practical purpose. The final report will undergo public participation before being presented to Parliament.
We are gathered here to address a persistent governance gap in our legal system. And that gap is the presence of statutes and statutory provisions on our laws and on our law books that have been invalidated by courts but remain unamended, unrepealed, or unaligned.
These decisions largely concern infringements of key constitutional guarantees. The most affected laws are in the area of criminal justice, electoral law, and finance and taxation.
At the Meru ASK Showground, preparations are complete for Saturday's Meru Dairy Farmers Annual Field Day, where President William Ruto is expected to officiate.
Kifunguliwa, wakulima wa Meru watafaidika because kutoka hapo tutaanza kupata chakula ya quality ya juu na bei mzuri.
Meanwhile, Lurambi Member of Parliament Bishop Titus Kamala has dismissed claims that the government plans to construct affordable housing units on land belonging to Bukura Agricultural College. Kamala says the intended project is the construction of student hostels to support learners at the institution.
Hakuna affordable housing inajengwa Bukura. Mimi niliomba president mwenyewe, nilikuwa na rais na nikamuomba hostels. Kwa sababu tusipokuwa na hostels, hii college itakufa.
In Turkana County, traders at Kakuma Municipality Market have accused the Market Management Committee of imposing illegal levies and demanding bribes of up to 30,000 shillings before allocating business spaces.
Kamati ambaye ilifomiwa ili mwaka hiyo nini ilianza, modern market ilijengwa mpaka na saizi bado iko. Kwani kamati gani hiyo inachukua hiyo miaka yote, miaka 20 bila kufunjwa ama bila kufanya election?
In Garissa County, residents are being encouraged to remain vigilant and promptly report any early signs of radicalization to security agencies. The calls came during a one-day stakeholder sensitization workshop organized by the National Counter-Terrorism Center.
Sasa ile watu wanapotea katika jamii, ni muhimu kuuliza wameenda wapi, kwa sababu sasa ile radicalization inafanyika, watu wenyewe wanatolewa karibu na watu wale wanawajua.
Elsewhere, police officers serving in Ethi location like Kipia North have received new residential houses in a move aimed at improving their welfare and enhancing security operations in the area.
Kuna askari wawili ambao walikuwa wanatumia zile ofisi kidogo tuko nazo pale, ile ambayo inastahili kuwa store. Kuna askari ambao walikuwa wanakaa hapo, na kwa saa hizi ni furaha kwetu.
Finally, residents of Lungalunga in Kwale County are demanding more grassroots public awareness campaigns regarding projects being implemented under the financing locally led climate action program.
Sana sana sisi kule kwetu tunajishughulisha na upanzi wa mikoko na kuitunza na kuiboresha ili tuongeze ongezeko la miti duniani, na kadri tunavyoongeza ongezeko la miti duniani, basi hii mabadiliko ya tabia nchi at least yanaweza yakapungua.
For Prime Edition, I am Teresa Mutai.
Many thanks for keeping us company on Prime Edition tonight. It's now time for business news. My name is Ndotamo Kami. Now, the National Treasury expects revenue from taxes to grow by 20% in the 2027-2028 fiscal year. This will be achieved through the digitization of tax services and enhancing compliance levels. National Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi says the government will ramp up investment in agricultural value chains, affordable housing, digital infrastructure, and renewable energy. Regina Manyara has more details.
Despite strong economic indicators, including GDP growth of 5.3% in the first quarter of 2026 and easing inflation to 6.4%, revenue collection has remained below expectations.
This economy has the potential of collecting up to even 22% of GDP as ordinary revenue.
The government is targeting to raise 4 trillion shillings in the 2027-2028 cycle, backed by investment in productive sectors including county aggregation and industrial parks, special economic zones, agriculture value chains, affordable housing, digital infrastructure and renewable energy.
You know that we are facing a job crisis as an economy, as a country. And there's no better place for us to create jobs than during sector working groups hearings. So the budget committees will be expecting you to come up with programs that, first of all, have impact. And we also believe that every sector is capable of creating job opportunities.
Through sound investment decision, improved corporate governance, strategic asset management, and effective public-private partnership, we continue to contribute to sustainable economic growth.
Treasury projects to lift growth, broaden the tax base, and support the medium-term target of 7.2% in the financial year 2027-2028, while favoring agriculture, manufacturing, housing, healthcare, MSMEs, and the digital economy.
But it is very annoying for someone to tell investors not to invest in our country at a time when investor confidence has risen. And for investor confidence to rise in a country, it takes effort. It does not just happen in a day. It takes effort. And when those efforts have started bearing fruit, please keep quiet.
The key message here is that every budget allocation should directly contribute to achievement of MTP4/better outcomes.
CS Mbadi further noted financial year 2027-2028 budget will focus on balancing between clearing existing obligations, sustaining economic growth, financing priority social programs, and maintaining fiscal discipline ahead of the 2027 general election.
There are many sectors here that are going to be involved in elections, the security sector, the judiciary, and you know yourselves. So we expect you to ensure that you budget for the elections.
Regina Manyara reporting for KBC Channel 1.
The government plans to double smallholder farmers' earnings to 100 shillings per kilo of green leaf by the year 2027. This will be aided by ongoing reforms in the subsector and aggressive marketing of the Kenyan commodity on the international market. Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi says the government is also addressing high taxation, poor infrastructure, fluctuating global tea prices, pests and diseases to improve earnings.
The reforms are part of the comprehensive reform 10-point plan aimed at improving tea quality, stabilizing prices and ensuring fair returns to farmers while boosting forex earnings for the country. Prime Cabinet Secretary Mudavadi is urging farmers to tend to their crop as the government works to lower prices for farm inputs.
And if we are going to change the lives of our people, we must also get them to see that there is opportunity in tea. Other regions are now going into the processing of purple tea, different exotic teas. So this is one thing. You get support from the government for fertilizer. All the tea from here is exported. 95% of the tea here is exported. Only 5% is sold locally.
The Ministry of Agriculture has already finalized green leaf quality guidelines and created awareness of the same to all stakeholders and players in the tea value chain in order to enhance the quality of the tea. The reforms also include bridging the price gaps between the East and West tea blocks, where teas from the east of the Rift Valley often fetch better premiums compared to those from the west due to plucking standards. Speaking at the Mudete Tea Factory, Mudavadi has emphasized the need to double down on quality production, value addition, branding, and expanding market access globally. Britain Elia, Prime Edition.
And in the financial world, SBM Bank Kenya has reported an 171% increase in profit before tax to 548 million shillings for the 6 months ended June 2026. Customer deposits rose by 24% to 94 billion shillings, while net loans and advances grew by 18% to 54.1 billion shillings, signaling increased lending to households and businesses. Chief Executive Officer Bartesh Shah says the results demonstrate the success of the bank's strategy to strengthen earnings, improve risk management, and build a more resilient institution. The bank also reported a sharp improvement in asset quality, with its gross non-performing loans ratio falling to 17%, down from 32.4% a year ago. The bank says it will continue lending to individuals, SMEs, and corporates while increasing support for climate resilience and sustainable investments as it seeks to strengthen its position in Kenya's banking sector.
We just announced our H1 2026 results, which was a profit before tax of 548 million shillings, which grew year on year by 2.7 times. We've seen our deposits go up by 24% to 94 billion shillings. We've seen our lending to customers going up as well. We've seen our transactions going up as well. So we've seen a diversified rise in almost all of our income lines. So there has been a concerted effort, particularly over the last 2 years, to reduce the NPL ratios. That's resulted, what I'd say, is in quite a dramatic reduction in the last 2 years. So we've revamped our IT infrastructure. At the beginning of June, we upgraded our core banking system as well, which gives us a lot more capabilities as well. So our focus would be on our transformation agenda, which is led by digital, which is led by our flexibility and our innovative product offerings. So we'd expect to see a lot more of that and to see a lot more momentum on what we've launched this year as well.
Partnerships with global technology firms will be critical in delivering Kenya's universal access to electricity by 2030. State Department for Energy Electrical Power Development Secretary Engineer Thomas Karongo says this will be important in expanding the country's electricity generation, transmission, and distribution infrastructure.
Kenya is leveraging international partnerships to support its transition to a clean, reliable and affordable energy system as it works towards universal electricity access by 2030.
You can see the push that we have currently for having clean energy, right from generation to its consumption. China is quite in it, and those are the leaps that I would talk of, beyond the vision that was had at the very beginning of the launch of these exhibitions.
Speaking at the opening of the 11th China Trade Week Kenya and the 3rd Megawatt Africa exhibition Nairobi, stakeholders noted that the technologies being showcased at the expo align with the country's priorities in electricity generation, transmission and distribution.
It's about alignment, it's about engagement, and obviously we have a platform that brings buyers, suppliers, manufacturers together. So, when we bring and develop a project like this, we bring obviously the suppliers, but then we have a platform which includes the business-to-business matchmaking.
So if you're an entrepreneur out there and you want to be able to connect and do business with a Chinese company, come to the B2B lounge, where we will set up meetings with the companies that are already here from China. You will discuss and you will figure out a way of connecting and being able to do business.
Over 1,000 Kenyan firms have become distributors of Chinese products across East Africa, while at least 15 Chinese companies have established manufacturing operations in Kenya, creating thousands of jobs since the first edition of the China Trade Week. Trevor Ngendo for Prime Edition.
And that's all the time we had for you tonight on Prime Edition Business News. But don't go too far. On the other side of the studio, Karen Kibet is bringing the latest in the world of sports. My name is Ndotamo Kami. Do have yourselves a wonderful evening.
A very good evening to you. I do hope you're holding up well. It's now time for us to take a look at all the sports stories making headlines tonight. My name is Karen Kibet. Now, Harambee Starlets have intensified their preparations in France ahead of the 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations set to kick off in Morocco on Sunday. The Kenya national women's team started their residential training camp in France on Wednesday last week as part of their final build-up before traveling to Morocco for the Continental Showpiece.
Harambee Starlets have been drawn in a challenging Group A, where they will open their campaign against host Morocco on Sunday before taking on Senegal on July 30th.
Personal goals zangu kwanza, mimi ni winger, a lot of crossing. If God atan bless, nikipata bao for my team, itakuwa plus for me. Of course, it's a tournament ya kwanza mimi attend, so na expect mob from me, nifanye tu shughuli yangu juu makocha wameshanipea yenye wanaweza.
They'll wrap up their group stage fixtures against Algeria on August 3rd. The top two teams from the group will progress to the quarterfinals scheduled for August 8th and 9th, where they'll face opponents from Group B, which comprises of defending champions South Africa, Ivory Coast, Burkina Faso and Tanzania.
Tumetrain poa, training facilities pia ziko poa, na tunazidi tu kujipush tukijua tuta-achieve goals zetu.
With more than just a continental glory at stake, the Starlets will also be chasing an historic place at the 2027 FIFA Women's World Cup in Brazil, with all semi-finalists earning automatic qualification for the global tournament.
Now, after securing gold and silver medals in last year's Africa Under-20 Championships, Natasha Cheptoo and Mercy Chepngeno are set to compete again in the 21st World Athletics Under-20 Championships in Oregon, USA, from the 5th to the 9th of next month. Cheptoo, an 18-year-old athlete from the Lemotit training camp in Londiani, Kericho County, is filled with confidence about winning gold in the 3,000-meter steeplechase. She aims to conclude her junior competition with a win in the USA before joining the senior ranks. At just 18 years old, Chepngeno rose to stardom after claiming silver in the Africa Under-20 Championship in Nigeria and replicating the same result in this year's Africa Senior Athletics Championships in Accra, Ghana in May. Kenya will be represented by 23 athletes in this year's World Championship.
Mimi nilikuwa naanzia timu ya Nigeria. Nikaenda huko Nigeria nikaleta gold. Na naona naendelea vizuri. Nang'ang'ana kwa mazoezi. Ndio nikienda huko naenda kuleta medal na niweke best time. Matarajio yangu nataka niende huko nikimbie poa, nilete medal na niweke PP kwa time. Kazi yenye nataka nifanye ni speed walk na nikuwe sharp kwa kupita hiyo barrier. Nataka nikimbie poa, niweke time nzuri na nilete medal. So ikifika 2026 World Championship nataka nione nimeingia hiyo timu. Mimi nikipika mazoezi alafu hata mimi nitakuwa kama Faith Yerotich. Very soon.
Nikaenda kwa kambi, coach akaenda kunitrain, so sai niko well. So as we are preparing to go to Eugene, I promise that taenda kuleta whether gold, silver or bronze. Tangu niingia kwa camp, nimeona improvement kidogo. So last year niliweza kukimbia vizuri, hata TCA nikakimbia tena vizuri.
Moving on, Kenyan boxer Jamal Hathwani has sent a strong signal to Moroccan Hamza Bounabri, pledging to end their men's featherweight clash on in early rounds. This is ahead of this Saturday's prestigious Sportpesa boxing set for the Edge Convention Center in Nairobi.
I come from the street and kuna some myths watu wanasema like boxing like it can't take you anywhere and nini is not something that you can rely on, something like that. But me being here and pushing through, I believe there are some people that really want to watch my journey.
I was happy to be here. It's my second time here. The energy is crazy. I love to fight here. I really do. I fought in many places, but here is just crazy. I love fighting here. It brings the best out of me.
Alliance Girls High School joined the world in commemorating the World Chess Day as it gears towards hosting the upcoming Kenya National Under-17 Chess Championship 2026. The major youth tournament will be held from 31st of this month to August 4th. Organized by the Chess Kenya Federation and spearheaded by Chess Mashinani President Lucas Kibani, the tournament brings together the finest qualified young talent from across the country. Players will compete for national honors and the opportunity to represent Kenya on the international stage. Athletics Kenya has unveiled Riadha Connect, a new digital platform aimed at transforming the management and development of athletics in the country by connecting athletes, coaches, officials, and event organizers through a single online ecosystem. Speaking during the launch, Athletics Kenya officials said the platform will simplify athlete registration, licensing, competition entries, and communication while providing a centralized database to enhance transparency and efficiency in the management of the sport.
This initiative is fully aligned with the government of Kenya's digital transformation agenda and World Athletics vision of promoting good governance, transparency, and athlete-centered administration across the board. Our president, in every speech, wherever he is, he talks about athlete-centered programs that we have to do.
And those were all the sports stories we had for you right here on KBC Prime Edition. My name is Karen Kibet. Have a lovely night. I'll see you tomorrow with more sports news. But for now, I hand you back to my colleague, John Jacob Kioria. Kioria, take it away.
Thank you very much, Karen. But that's just it. We are done. Thank you very much for watching Prime Edition. And thank you, obviously, for giving us the company. This is where we put a cap on Prime Edition. Have yourself a fantastic night. Continue enjoying our programming.
Life is unpredictable and accidents may happen, leading to disability, sometimes death. Protect yourself against the uncertainties of disability, death, or medical expenses related to an accident by purchasing a personal accident policy. Read and understand the terms and conditions of your policy. This message is brought to you by the Insurance Regulatory Authority, IRA. IRA, Bima Bora kwa Taifa.
Yes. He got them now. Keep going. 3. Nice. 2. 1. You reverse. Yes. 3. Nice.
Let's now welcome Team DGDA.
The wait is over. KBC Iko Huduma Center. Starting with Nairobi, kupata huduma za KBC imekuwa rahisi. From digital guidance and signet services to booking of commercial adverts and documentaries. Visit our dedicated desks at Huduma Center GPO, Times Square, Makadara, Kibera, or Eastleigh. Tunakungoja hapo. Whether it's a casual announcement or a specialized media solution for your business, we are here to serve you. KBC at Huduma Centers, moving closer to you. Your station, your service.
Hola, 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 hola.